Panago Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Panago Pizza Steve Dangle Podcast. I'm going to block off our special guest who we've been keeping secret for a long time.
It's so secret.
It's very secret.
Very.
Drew Doughty, everybody.
Yay!
Hey, guys.
It's Drew Doughty. He's here.
He's our first ever NHL player.
Yes,
Oh, really?
active NHL player.
Active.
I always got to put that distinction. We had Ben Scrivens on, and then he went to the KHL. That's a former teammate of yours.
Yeah, played with him in LA for, I don't know, half a season or so.
Yeah. He's weird, right?
He's different, but
Yeah.
he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just, he's a goalie, you know, but that's about it.
Did he earn the nickname Professor?
Well, he didn't earn it with us. He must have, someone must have given it to him before, because the way we found out was he had like the professor written on his pads. So that's how we found out.
So
like
none of you guys
instead of like your last name like everyone else, he had the professor. So that's how we found out.
Do you think he gave it to himself?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's what we think.
That's kind of lame,
give
right?
a nickname to yourself.
But we
kinda
think he
lame.
did. So you're gonna have to ask him, but we think he did.
Okay, so he walks into the Kings dressing room. How does he introduce himself? Hi, I'm the
Ben.
professor.
No. That's
Guys, I don't know if you know about me. I'm the professor.
yeah.
So, it's the off season. It's been I guess a bit of a longer one than you're maybe used to over your career. How's it been so far?
Yeah, it's obviously disappointing that we weren't in the playoffs and that we weren't playing for the Stanley Cup. But it's good being back home, getting some rest, back home with the family, friends. Obviously just living in London, Ontario, and golfing and doing different things. And obviously I'm here for this Lay's Smile campaign, and today's National Power Smile Day. So I'm here to just kind of tell everyone that it's important to smile. If someone smiles at you, you're probably going to smile back. And going through a lot of things in hockey, obviously with coaches getting on you and playing bad and stuff like that, you get frustrated. And I just always remember throw a smile on and you'll feel better.
One question. Speaking of London, do you and Jeff Carter ever talk about how you grew up together in London? Together, and how now you're in the NHL? And
his dad coached me when I was 6 or 7 years old. So I've known Jeff basically since then. Obviously he was a lot older than me, so it's not like we were hanging out or anything. But we lived up right around the corner from each other, literally 5-minute walk, and we know all the same people. We grew up in the same end of the city, so we have a lot of similarities there. And we definitely let a lot of people.
You reminisce.
Oh yeah, in front of everyone too. Let them know how great London is.
That's good. Exclude teammates.
Yeah. Leave everyone out.
Push them out. When you were approached for this campaign, did any part of you say but I'm missing half my teeth?
No, I thought that would be like kind of the cool part for it, I guess. Having no teeth, I don't know if I'll ever have my teeth back until I retire. So, this is how, if anyone ever wants me to do anything, this is how I'm going to look, I'm pretty sure. So I thought it was fitting for this, though. I thought it was great that, not having the teeth for this.
Do you remember what shot it was? And knocked them out?
It was a couple different times, yeah. So they first got knocked out. We tried to save them. They went dead, so they went black. Then we put the veneers in, and then they both got kicked out too. So it's just where we're at now.
So your replacement teeth got kicked out?
Yeah.
Good. That's good stuff.
But the original ones basically did too. Like they weren't completely out, but they were broken in half in the gum line, so they're gone anyway.
That sounds nice. That sounds really nice.
I'm happy I don't play in the NHL.
Holy smokes.
I miss the money, but I have my teeth, so it's all good.
Yeah.
We were talking about what round do you think Jesse would go in? I'm saying first because he's 6'5".
I got a long wingspan.
But he's got no. He has no girth to him there. Yeah.
Zero mass.
Well, he's like my buddy Wayne Simmons, who actually I was with last night, and he has a very similar body type to you. Like he's just really skinny, but he could beat me in a gym any day. Like he's skinny, and I look thicker than him, but he's so strong. So maybe your first rounder.
No,
maybe.
What? First round?
Simmons was a little notorious in my neighborhood growing up. We grew up in kind of the same place, but just never crossed paths.
Yeah.
He fought one of my buddies one time because he tore his shirt on the soccer field by accident, and they were playing tackle soccer, which is apparently a thing.
Oh yeah, we played that in my elementary school too.
He broke my buddy's collarbone
doing
that. So he was always kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, he's competitive. They're playing a sport. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all's fair in grade 8 war sports.
Yeah. No, we had full out body checking soccer in the snow too when I was growing up. You guys didn't play that?
Oh no, of course I had that.
Okay,
for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, in the snow.
Not soccer though, like football.
Oh, we play soccer, like little tennis ball hockey, like kick the tennis ball around.
Yeah, we did that.
We
full checking.
British Bulldog, where it's literally just cross this line or somebody will try and tackle you down.
Yeah.
You stand up, you all line up in a line, and you try and cross the other line, and everyone on the other side just trying to tackle you so you don't cross the other line.
just whatever's maximum injury, that's what we did as a kid.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like I don't think the missing teeth or whatever like that should be a hockey player thing. It's like if you grow up around snow, just
and
everyone should be just broken. Yeah, a 12-year-old boy. What did you think of this year's playoffs from the outside? Because speaking of injuries, I can't think of a playoff where there were this many. Like, it just seemed like every team was a shell of itself.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really notice that, but now I think back on it, yeah, a lot of the teams are having key injuries. Obviously, you think of Letang being out for Pittsburgh and then Johansson being out for Nashville. Obviously, both those guys would have made a difference for both teams. So, no, but, I tried to watch the finals as much as I could. I missed a few games, but, watching it, just have a lot of respect for Pittsburgh and what they did to win 2 cups in this day and age is a tough thing to do. So, it's pretty amazing. And, like you said, they did it without some key guys in their lineup like Letang, and I'm sure there are others too. So.
I wrote down some Twitter questions, and I don't remember who asked this one. I missed it. There were just too many, and I didn't even say it was you. Probably would have got more if I said it was you. Did you ever think that Phil Kessel would be a 2-time Stanley Cup champion?
Not if you stayed in Toronto, no.
Wow! Hey, things are looking up.
No, they are. They are.
How dare you, Drew Doughty?
Clipping that.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
They don't want me anymore. No. Yeah.
No, you'll still be.
He's a good player. Everyone wants to say what they got to say about him, but bottom line is he's a good player, and if you put him with the right players and the right team, he's going to contribute and help the team win.
Well, and some of the same stuff that was said about him, I've heard said about you, like, Kessel, doesn't train as hard. No, Doughty's fitness isn't up to snuff. But to people who say that, what would you say?
Yeah, I actually just talked about this not long ago too. Like it's not like it actually bothers me, but when people tell me, I need to be in better shape this and I need to be in better shape that, it kind of pisses me off because I'm top 3 in the league the last however many years in ice time. Mm-hmm. I've missed 5 games in 5 years. Meanwhile, you see, guys who come into camp the best in shape, they dominate the fitness testing, and then they're missing half the year because they push themselves so hard during the off season that they had no energy left for in season. So I have a great trainer back home in London who, he's always been a big believer in maintaining and, not trying to lift the heaviest weights and not killing ourselves in the gym, but trying to maintain and still trying to build muscle, obviously, and get better, but not at a crazy rate. And so I have a big belief in that. And, like you said, he gets all the knock too. Phil does. And, maybe we're doing something right. He's got 2 cups. I got 2 cups. So
And
whatever.
He's another guy who rarely misses games.
Right.
Well, he hasn't since he was a Bruin.
There you go.
That's not true. The Leafs got him. He was coming off of shoulder surgery, but once he came back from the shoulder surgery. So you guys in the last, 5 years have a combined 5 missed games and 4 cups.
Not bad.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you got to have a little body fat on you to take all the wear and tear on your body. I think that's just the way it is. All teams want you at 11% body fat or whatever it is, but no, I think you got to carry up to 13%, my opinion, but what's my opinion?
That's why I couldn't play in the NHL.
That's why
you're probably like, 4% over there?
less. I'm at like half.
I was about to say 13%. I'm like, yeah, all right. I can do that. I can maybe get down to that.
As someone who's won 2 gold medals, what do you think of the NHL deciding not to go to the Olympics?
Yeah, it's, there's not really much I can say, but it's out of our decision as players. Obviously, we love to play. Representing your country, having that opportunity is so special, and then playing the Olympics, which we've watched our whole lives growing up, to play in that is a crazy experience. Being able to hang out at in the village with the other athletes and learn what they do to become the best at their sport and stuff like that is really cool. So, yeah, I'll be a little bit disappointed because I'd love to play, but I definitely see the owner's perspective. I wouldn't want to be paying all these guys to go off and get hurt either.
Yeah.
So I get it.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, when you put it that way, pay all these guys to go off and get hurt. I guess we had a similar. I was going to bring something back to the Leafs, but I think we're well past that. Should we get into Twitter questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is from C. Angelus12. Do you still get nervous or excited when heading to games?
I definitely don't get nervous, no, but I definitely do get excited. If first couple games of the season, there's definitely a little lull in the season between game 20 and game 60 there, or maybe game 30 and 60 where, maybe you're not as excited, but when at the beginning of the season, you're really excited to be getting to the rink and playing. And then as the season kind of comes to an end and you're trying to get higher up in the standings for playoffs, like those are the most fun times of the season. And yeah, there's nothing better than driving to the rink knowing you're playing a game in a couple hours.
What do you do to like kind of remind yourself between games 30 and 60? Like, okay, there's still a lot to play for here.
Yeah, you can't take a night off. And as a leader on the team, I got to make sure that everyone's still dialed in and everyone's treating the game just as if it was, a Stanley Cup playoff game. But we go there and we're still having fun. We love playing this game and we love playing for each other on a team and trying to win for each other. So that's the way you always go back to that. And when you're in the game, you're not thinking, oh, it's only game 35. You're in the moment and you're playing as hard as you possibly can. So it's sometimes just driving around the rink. It's like, holy, game 35. I feel like I've been here for 3 months and we got 60 games left. So it's just the way you think sometimes, and that's just natural. It's not that you don't want to play.
Yeah, of course,
that's for sure.
It's game 42. That's my game off.
I'll take 20 off. Yeah,
yeah.
No, it doesn't. No one thinks that way, but definitely it's a grind playing 82 games.
Yeah. Ken Cushing asked, which player's shot do you hate to block? Now, I assume the answer is all of them. So which player's shot do you hate to block the most?
Definitely Shea Weber. I played against him for so many years when he was in Nashville there, and he so as being a right defenseman on the penalty kill, I take away the left defenseman's one-timer. Well, he's a righty, but he would be taking the one-timer from that side.
Right, because
so I ate that shot a lot, and Webbs is a guy that he's going to go high and heavy, so you're getting him in the chest and in the arms and stuff, and you don't got a lot of padding up there. Like, you want to get in the shin pad or something, but actually, I do remember one time he hit me right in the shin pad. I still got a bruise right through my shin pad, cracked the shin pad, and yeah, so he's got a heavy one.
One more.
Well, I was going to say, what is the difference between a hard and a heavy shot? Because I've heard that
different. I don't know how to explain. It's like what they say about pitching. Like, someone's ball just seems like it's coming in at a heavier pace. I don't know, but yeah, like Weber's is heavy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, geez, okay. If I got to pick one.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Yeah.
I know.
It's game 7, Steve.
Okay.
OT.
What is it in, this is from Sean Fitzgerald, what is it in hockey's culture that seems to suppress any attempt to assert an individual player's unique personality?
I don't even understand that question. Really.
Why are hockey players perceived as boring?
I don't see that. Maybe we are perceived boring. I don't really care. The way I look at it is that we're respectful, and yeah, maybe we do say the right thing all the time, but that's just the way we're brought up as a young kid. That's what our coaches bring us up as. That's what our organization wants us to be doing. Be as professional as we can. Suit on the plane, suit off the plane. We're not. Yeah. It's just the way we are, and I don't think we're boring though. Like we if you saw us behind the scenes, no one would think we're boring. We're a lot of fun, and maybe it is time for us to have some more personalities. And I know you're kind of thinking probably PK with the big personality there. And
yeah,
I'm whatever. I'm all for it. Do your thing. Like it doesn't bother me at all. I like it. Yeah, that's cool. Him, and you got to be yourself.
All right.
It is. I think there is a reason, though, you went straight to PK, though.
Well, I think that's the guy that definitely is has the loudest personality in the league, and
yeah,
I don't think anyone would really argue with me. And I love PK. He's great person, great guy, great player.
Like Phil Kessel.
Right.
Do you see a lot of guys in the off season?
Yeah, well, when I come down here to Toronto, like for instance, I was at the Jays game last night, and saw some people there, and obviously I have some buddies. One of my best friends is Wayne Simmons, who lives down here, and so always come down to see him and run into guys all the time.
All right, cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Will you be at his? Is he doing his ball hockey thing again this year?
Yeah, he is, and I'm coming this year. He told me the date. I had a conflict last year that I couldn't make it, so I missed a year on him. So I got to make that up to him. I'll be here this year.
Very cool.
All right. One final shout out to Lays.
Yeah, the Lays Smile campaign has been great, and remember to smile. It's important, and it makes you happy.
Even if you don't have teeth,
yeah,
still smile.
You're missing like 2. I don't know. Just from one angle, I was like, "Oh my god!"
I know, right? The two big teeth, though.
Yeah,
looks like it could be 3 out.
It's perfect, though.
All right,
the hockey smile.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you, guys.
So much fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had
Thanks
fun
for coming
too.
on.
Thank you.
Well, Drew Doughty was just on the show.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun, but I would just like I'd like to say a special shout out to Uber for screwing us out of half of that interview.
Not half.
Dude, I had so many questions from people.
We got 19 minutes.
Was that 19 minutes?
That's how much we were promised. We weren't screwed out of it. But
I'm grumpy. No, because I wanted to ask him. I was going to be like, straight up on this show, I said the last year's Norris win was your revenue.
Why didn't you ask? Why was that not your first question?
But you got to ease into
Why
that.
was that not your last question?
I panicked. And I just remembered, Sean had a really good question. I panicked. I'm not good at interviews, Jesse.
Steve.
That was fun, though. Here I am bringing it down immediately. I thought that was fun.
It was entirely, I apologize, first of all.
That was not your fault.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Because I was going to be like 10 minutes late to meeting you, which would have been half an hour early for the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, instead of being 10 minutes late, I'll take an Uber from Libvidge to here and try and be like 5 minutes late to meet Steve. And I hop in this Uber.
Your levels look really low.
No, here, let me raise that.
Sorry,
yeah, I can't.
Hello.
Local mic talking. All right,
we need Adam. No, I'm kidding.
I can always boost it in post.
Yeah.
Anyways, instead of being 5 minutes to meet you, which would have been 25 minutes early for the interview, I decided to hop in Uber. And the Uber decided to go down Lakeshore Boulevard, which is the busiest street in the morning.
Why do you think he did that? Is it because Ubers don't know where they're going? I think it's because Ubers don't know where they're going.
Because Ubers don't know where they're going.
Sometimes.
And then he turned up Yonge Street, which is the second busiest street.
No!
So I traveled like a kilometer in 40 minutes, and I would have been there 20 minutes earlier if I had just taken transit.
And then what happened?
And then I got out of my Uber and I hopped on the subway. Because I was like,
get out of the car!
And I was like, can I do that? Can I just cancel in the middle of my Uber?
And I had to inform Jesse, well into adulthood Jesse, that he's not a prisoner in his Uber car and he can get out and it's a free country.
No, once you're in the car, you're trapped.
Yeah.
They lock the doors. And you can't
barricade.
get out.
There's like a barricade that forms around the car, like friggin' Rick and Morty.
Yeah, it's exactly like Rick and Morty. I am Jerry, and they dropped me off at Jerry World.
Yeah, and you were just like,
I'm scared. Oh, there's other Jerrys here.
Yeah.
And then I went and made a puzzle. So yes,
we had Drew Doughty on.
We had Drew Doughty. Oh, that was really cool.
That was pretty cool.
He's a fun guy.
He was pretty fun. I'm proud that we didn't ask too many questions he had already been asked today. And you could kind of tell which ones. The Olympic one and just right into soccer. But that's perfect, though. Yeah. You got to ask about it.
I got to ask one of those hockey questions.
Yeah, least, they showed us his Lays itinerary right before the interview. And I thought we were like his second one of the day. So it was 9:30 in the morning when we started this.
Yeah.
Which is earlier than we usually record. And we were probably number 6. And he still has like 5 more.
The media those guys do is crazy.
Well, it's smart. You just knock it off all in one day. And I mean, I'm sure it's not like he's doing this for free. So.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing this because he loves Lays.
Imagine. He just sits at home and just chugs Lays all day. And they came to him. They're like, hey, you want to just do this for free? And he's like,
sense.
I love Lays so much. I'll do it. And
if someone was like,
Drew Doughty came here.
Can you advertise our TV show. I'd be like, no, you have to pay us for that. We're bringing back Hey Arnold. I'd be like, yes.
What other show could they bring back that you do for free?
That I would do for free?
For me, if they brought back The Office with everybody in the cast, so you just bring back Michael Scott and Steve
Ricky
Carell.
Gervais?
No, fuck the British version.
Whoa! Wow!
If you bring back Steve
first of all.
Carell to The Office,
He was good.
I would promo that for free for the rest of my life. I just need like 2 seasons of that.
See, I've lived long enough that most of my favorite shows got ruined at some point. So there's 2 that stand out as being unscathed. Hey Arnold. That was 1.5 syllable. Hey Arnold.
Yes.
And Animaniacs, which supposedly they're bringing back.
Actually?
I don't know. I just go by the internet rumors that Mrs. Dangle carelessly tells me about.
That'd be so cool.
I know.
The one thing about Hey Arnold is I watched it when I was so young. I don't remember any of the episodes, really. I just remember, like, the characters. Like, I couldn't tell you a specific episode of anything that happened.
I was in, I think, grade 4, which would have put you, I think, in grade 1.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
that would cancel it out. Should we talk about hockey? Or?
Yeah, so much happened.
What did we miss? What should
Between Tuesday and Thursday?
Well, I was going to say with Drew. But,
with Drew.
I mean, yeah, news is really starting to trickle in. The show is definitely going to be out of date by the time it goes up.
Maybe.
I think so. Like, there's a lot of extensions getting signed. Teuvo Teravainen.
Did he?
He got signed a 2-year extension.
When was this?
Like, I think you were on the subway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, like, it's stuff is happening that fast.
Wow.
Dan Girardi got bought out.
Yep.
That was
Here, let's get into stuff then.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to start with Dan Girardi then?
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, let's start with Dan Girardi. So, Rangers buying out Girardi also opens up a protection slot that the club can use, which he would have otherwise occupied given his no movement clause. So they bought him out for the expansion draft.
So, and this brings us to an interesting point because I saw a lot of people defending this on Twitter. They're like, look, it was his time. He needed to go. Plus, they get this protection slot. In any other year, is this a good move?
No.
I'm not sure it is. Like,
do you want me to read you the buyout cap hit?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
So,
this is absurd. This is Yashin, but less long.
2017, 2018 is where we're starting.
Yep.
$2.6 million.
To not play.
To not cap hit.
Yeah, cap hit to not play.
The next year, $3.6 million.
To not play.
The next year, $3.6 million.
That's 3 times what the Leafs are paying Phil Kessel.
The following year, $1 million. The following year, $1 million. And finally, one more year in 2023 of $1 million.
So, for the next 6 years, the Rangers will have a cap hit of about 2.5, 3.5, 3.5, 1.
Jesus.
For Dan Girardi.
For a guy to not play.
Well, and how much time did he have left on his deal?
I don't have that in front of me.
Okay, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Like, the point is, like, there is no defense of this, and that doesn't even mean it was the right or it was the wrong move. Like, I saw a bunch of people going, no, it was time. It was time. You shouldn't dwell on the past, and you can't dwell on the past. You got to live in the circumstance that you're currently in. But the fact that deal was signed in the first place, the Rangers are sitting in it now.
Yeah,
they're sitting in it. What? It should have never been signed. Just because they made the better decision after their colossal mistake doesn't mean they deserve any praise at all.
Yeah, it doesn't make up for the original decision of
absolutely
awfulness.
Not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And okay, so when you buy out a player, so what was his cap hit? Let's say it was 5.5. I think that's about right.
It was
give or take.
It was 5.5.
Okay, 5.5.
Oh, and the original deal would have expired in 2020. So I did have that in front of me.
God. So what do you...
I don't know.
Some teams might have sat on that.
Yeah.
But the Rangers can't afford to. Now, here's the problem. So what's his cap hit next season?
The buyout cap hit?
Yes.
The buyout cap hit
2.6?
is 3.6.
Next season?
Yes. Oh,
Or sorry,
next,
this upcoming.
this upcoming season, 2.6.
2.6.
Yes.
So, what's 5.5 minus 2.6? Basically, when you buy a player out, you're saying, for the cap hit that we're going to pay you, we think we can get a player to replace you who's better for like half the price. That is basically what they're saying. So they can, I just did the math, it's 2.9. And 2 years down the line and 3 years down the line, they're saying we can replace Dan Girardi for $1.9 million. We can get we can get a player who's better than you.
Oh, yeah, because you'll have to be better to make up that difference. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
$1.9 million. And there's a lot of people out there right now listening going, well, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But it's just, I'm saying, like, that's how bad things had to get. That's how bad Dan Girardi had to play. That's how badly the Rangers wanted to get it from under him. And that's how bad they wanted to protect a New York Ranger who is not Dan Girardi.
Yeah, and we can't disregard that as well, because they're also saving a player.
Yeah. Well, and I also just said you got to live in your circumstance. Your circumstance is there's an expansion draft this year.
Yeah.
Deal with it. Is what it is, man. God, that sucks. So I guess that means they're almost for sure going the 7-3-1 route.
Yeah, I don't think they have a choice.
And I don't think too many teams have actually announced what they're doing on that front. I think I saw the Rangers, and I want to say Detroit announced that they'd be doing 7-3-1. Are they supposed to
announce? Because everything's supposed to be kept secret, right?
I guess you're not really revealing anything.
Okay. Well, yeah, kind of.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. I don't imagine that could be too good for players. Do you think players know? Do you think teams have informed players? Because there has to be talks.
I don't think players know, because I don't think a lot of teams know yet. Okay. There's still moves to be made. Like if let's say you're the Washington Capitals and you have a conversation with, a couple of your players who are like, they're not so sure. Mm-hmm. And then you had that conversation last week. Their situation changed yesterday. They spent a 5th round pick to go out and get Tyler Grauvach from the Minnesota Wild. Grauvach or Grauvach? I think it's Grauvach, and Grauvach is like a brand of vacuum or something.
So, Isabel, every time her name comes up.
Oh, jeez. Isabel K.
Isabel K.
With apologies. She's very good. It's just I'm dumb.
I'll read her tweet. She said, reason for this trade? It's so the Caps can protect Lars Eller in the expansion draft. Gives them another forward under contract through 17-18.
So, to my understanding, that was similar reason to why, one of the theories as to why the Leafs extended Ben Smith, right? Because you need to. This is a big part of the expansion draft that a lot of people don't understand, because there's too much to understand. You need to expose a certain amount of players who have played a certain amount of games. The Leafs could. It's not like you could just expose any random AHL bum. Mm-hmm. No, you got to expose someone who either played 40-plus games last year or 70 over the last 2. The Caps didn't have that without exposing a player who they would really like to keep. So they go out and they spend a 5th-round pick for Tyler Grauvach.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because you would think that maybe you could make some kind of deal with Vegas where you go, here, we'll give you a draft pick.
Yeah, don't you think Vegas would like that 5th-round pick?
Now, here's the thing. Would you rather have a 5th-round pick or Lars Eller? You'd rather have Lars Eller, and the Caps don't have any other picks, really.
Yeah.
So this team already has a depletion, a lack of picks. But, I mean, a 5th-round pick, this is the situation they're in. There is an expansion draft. If you can spend a 5th-round pick to protect a player like that, you do it.
Isn't this so much fun?
This is so much fun, and this is why.
So cool.
What's been great is I think over the last month, everyone's been like, "Here's what Vegas is going to look like," and then over the last week, now that it's obvious that this is a reality and this is happening, everyone's been like, throw your team in the garbage.
Yeah, all of those. Here's my expansion draft. Like, you don't know what these teams are going to do. You don't know who's going to be available. People are making them since like last September. They've been like, here's Vegas. No.
No.
We're not even going to, a week from now, the team could look completely different.
So, like, if you were making your, well, and that's also, here's a thought.
I'll mark my thought.
You see, because he might come up. You see, this means the Caps are like fully prepared that Philip Grubauer is going, right? Because if you have a chance at Lars Eller, there's going to be a bunch of goalies available. You could probably get a goalie who's not Grubauer and still be fine. There's going to be a real lack of quality centers. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're an expansion team, you could probably have Eller play second line center. Maybe first in a bind. Because
if you're Vegas, yeah,
because you're going to be bad. Whereas there's going to be tons of goalies you can go out and get. Mm-hmm. I wonder if the Caps spoke to Vegas. Well, and then it's not like Vegas would be like, here's our plan.
Yeah.
Here's who we're going to take from you.
Also, are there not better options than Grubauer if you can only take so many goalies? Like, do they have? They can't go out and take 6 goalies and then just trade 3, right?
Another strange option, or another strange aspect to all this. This is the current Caps GM making a move to thwart the last Caps GM.
Yes, where Ovechkin is going to go and play under his former GM.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Pittsburgh Penguins fans are so freaking spoiled. Like, this is what we're talking about with regards to the Caps and other teams. And the story with the Pens yesterday was they were all out getting drunk because it was a Stanley Cup parade.
In retrospect,
yes,
the Caps loss to the Penguins.
Yes.
Does it look less bad now that Pittsburgh won? Should we do that in sports where it's like, okay, my team lost to the championship team, so my team's loss isn't as bad because they lost to the best team?
That's kind of the way I wanted to look at it.
Or is it still just
kind of... I kind of wanted the Caps win because I'm like, well, it would have been nice if the Leafs lost to the champions, you know? Because then you could at least say, hey, they had 6 one-goal games against the eventual champions.
And if they squeak out that series, they're kind of the default champions because they lost to the champions.
Well, right? Yeah.
That's how it works.
You could argue that a bounce here or a bounce there, you'd win, which is what I think the Caps would argue with the Penguins. So this goes along with something a friend once told me. The best team in the NHL rarely wins the Stanley Cup.
Yes.
I'm going to get heat for this, and Penguins fans can be mad. And to that, I will say, calm down. You just won back-to-back cups. Shut up. The Washington Capitals were the best hockey team in the NHL and therefore the world this year.
Yes. They proved it over 82 games.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Penguins won. Penguins won the cup. You don't play to be the best team. You play to be the Stanley Cup champions. Mm-hmm. There is a difference. I don't think there's many teams around the NHL scrambling to make their roster look like the Ottawa Senators.
No.
But they came within a goal of the cup final.
Yeah. One of my favorite things of that is in baseball where you play 162 games. And 162 games, whoever has the most wins out of that, they're really the champions because you've had enough where you don't have the luck factor in it. There's so many games
That's interesting.
There's no luck. The eventual best team should win the most games out of 162.
What is it about North American culture? Because I think that's a here thing. I feel like that's a North American thing because you win the league. Like the President's Trophy or the equivalent in like soccer in Italy or England or wherever. Like that's a big deal. You won the league. You're league champions. And I'm like, no, you're not. You didn't go to the playoffs. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
The Scottish team that I interviewed when I was over in Aberdeen this summer, the Aberdeen.
Is that the name of the team?
Yeah.
Aberdeen Football Club?
No, Aberdeen Lynx.
Oh, there
Sorry.
you go.
It's wow. Recording 2 hours early makes a big difference. 2.5 hours.
What time are you up early? What time are you up this morning?
I had to get up at 6.
6. We'll catch that train.
Yeah. The Aberdeen.
The
Aberdeen Lynx.
Aberdeens.
If any of you are listening, I'm very, very, very sorry. No, but they didn't have the best regular season. I think they finished I want to say it was 6th out of 10 teams or something like that. Mm-hmm. So they weren't that good of a team. But they won the playoffs. Now, they took pride in that. They're like, hey, we're the playoff champions. But they made that distinction. We're the playoff champions.
Yeah.
We didn't win the league, but we're the playoff champions.
Yeah.
In hockey, no one gives a crap about the regular season.
You could win a million President's Trophy. It doesn't matter.
Who was the best team in the regular season in the NBA? Was it the Warriors?
It was the Golden State Warriors. Yeah.
Okay, so that's okay. So that
for
doesn't
the last 3 years. Yeah.
So that's different.
Yeah.
But over here, no one cares who wins the regular season.
No. Well, don't they hand out the championship in the Premier League to the regular season winner? Isn't that how they determine it? There's no playoffs, right?
If I remember from my days of playing FIFA,
I know nothing about soccer. I'm sorry.
There's like a lot of teams are eligible to win it's like 3 or 4 trophies. Like I think you can win the league.
Yeah.
You can win playoffs because they still have it.
Okay.
Which shouldn't that mean more? And Champions League.
Yeah.
Which is
where like all the different leagues come together, the top teams or something.
It's really cool, but the way they do it is strange.
Yeah.
Because you're automatically putting all the best teams in the world at a disadvantage by making them play more games.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then the middle of the pack teams play in like a less than Champions League.
But there's
some of them.
Yeah. Anyways.
I like hockey.
Speaking of the Ottawa Senators.
Yes.
Pending unrestricted free agent, Chris Neal.
Retired.
This is from Bruce Garrett. Garriott was told he will not be re-signed by the team after meeting with the Sens general manager Pierre Dorion and assistant GM Randy Lee. The veteran enforcer finishes his tenure in Ottawa with 112 goals, 138 assists, and a franchise record of 2,522 penalty minutes.
Oh my God.
Is his type dead?
It's gone. Because yes. So he was a pure enforcer. There's a difference between a pure enforcer, I think, and a goon. Goons are utterly useless. Offensively, defensively. They just suck. Chris Neal wasn't that. Towards the end of his career, maybe. But like Ty Domi could chip in a few goals. I think he had like a 14-goal season.
Did he actually?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
He played on Lindros's wing.
Ty Domi had 14 goals in a season?
Go look it up. Go look up Ty Domi's stats. Like, he wasn't a terrible player. It's just, he would have had way more if he wasn't in the penalty box all the time. Yeah. He was a skilled athlete. He's a fast skater. He was a strong player.
Well, they're all skilled athletes.
Of
right?
course,
Yeah.
but even in comparison to his peers, like he was a kicker for the Argos once, and he was a good soccer player in school. Like hockey was, I don't even think it was a top 3 sport for him in school.
Here, do you want the number?
Sure.
In 2002-2003, Ty Domi scored 15 goals and had 14 assists. That's not bad.
It's a 29-point season for like a third, fourth line guy. No, it's not. Like, imagine if he used his bowling ball body, his strength, his brute strength and speed to go to the net and get dirty goals instead of pounding people's face in. Imagine if instead of playing, 5-10 minutes a night, he was playing close to 15 because he wasn't in the box for 5, 10, 15 minutes and getting kicked out of the games every night. Mm-hmm. Chris Neal was kind of like that. I think he had a 16-goal season, which is why he stayed in the league this long. Most goons didn't spend 16 years in the NHL. But, I mean, the primary thing he did was use his fists.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I still remember Domi and Neal having fights, and I remember Domi as he was leaving the NHL, like as the sun was setting, and at like the height of the Leafs-Sens rivalry, being like, the next me is going to be Chris Neal. You watch out for this kid. The next me. So that's how long Chris Neal's been around.
Yeah.
Is Ty Domi remembered him when he was that rugged kid. Hey there, kid. Good fight.
So are you happy the game's moving in this direction? Because I know a guy, I always reference Jeff Merrick. A guy like Jeff Merrick would say, I love the fights. I go back and I put in my VHS tapes and I watch fights from 1992.
Because they're insane.
And because it's part of the sport and it's great, but there's really no place for them anymore. It's too fast.
I don't mind, like, some of the fights I've enjoyed the most as a Leaf fan over the last decade were Clark MacArthur's, because they never happened. And when they did, it was because he was red mist rage pissed off. He threw a guy. He like injured Yaroslav Spacek Which, why are you fighting Yaroslav's spot check? Because he was pissed.
Yeah.
He was pissed.
He needs to grab a guy and fight him.
Yeah, like we can talk about the merits of fighting, but as the rules stand, it's a 5-minute major. That's it. If you have a willing combatant, yeah, that's it. So as long as it's allowed, basically, people like to say, well, it's against the rules. You can't do it. You get a penalty. I'm like, okay, you get to stay in the game. It's not that against the rules.
Yeah.
If you break a guy's neck, that's against the rules, and you're out of the game and in jail.
Yeah, there are stricter rules for like slashing.
Yes.
You can get a double minor and get kicked out of the game or something for slashing and cutting a guy, you know? It's a ridiculous argument.
No, you get to stay in the game.
Yeah.
But as long as it's in the game, I would rather guys fight because they're mad. I follow Hockey Fights Instagram account, which is awesome. It's awesome. I spent hours and hours on hockeyfights.com.
Yeah.
For years and years. I still do. I shouldn't say it like it's something I used to do. I still do. I used to too. Mitch Hedberg style.
That's like saying, I would say, I used to spend hours playing Chell. You know, I just spent so many hours on NHL 2003. I still play a lot.
I used to do drugs. I still do, but I used to too.
Exactly.
Yeah. A fight came up yesterday. It was Aaron Downey versus Jesse Boulerice. And they do this. They're holding up their fists. Yeah, they're doing the Gangs of New York. Why, Ayana? They're squaring up. Boulerice is grabbing at him. And it's like a solid 15, 20 seconds of that. Yeah. And then Downey, wham! Just one punch. Boulerice is down. Crowd loses their mind. And now that I'm an old fuddy-duddy, I'm like, that was dumb.
You're like, concussion.
Yeah, well, back in the day, I was like, yes, that was amazing. That was sick. And I mean, wicked punch.
Oh, yeah.
Wicked moment, wicked crowd pop. But what was that? What was accomplished? Mm-hmm. And who the hell was Jesse Boulerice? Like, if you go back and look at his career, like, that was a goon. Mm. That was a guy who did nothing but hurt people, contributed nothing to his team. Aaron Downey stuck in the NHL a little bit longer, didn't do a whole hell of a lot more.
But these were guys who were brought in to fight.
Yeah, but like those stage fights, the craziest thing that I didn't understand why it got praised to me that I remember. You ever seen the fight? It was George Laraque against Rydas Ivanins. No, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't think I could pick up from memory.
Yeah, I think Laraque was with the Coyotes, or Ivanins was with the Coyotes. Doesn't matter. They square up, or they get beside each other at the face-off circle, and Laraque is mic'd up, and he just very politely goes, "You want? Okay, good luck, man." And then, like, probably 270-pound walking weight, George Laraque starts throwing his friggin' clay monster from the Batman cartoons fist.
One of those Hulk toys that you put over and you just play with? Yeah,
like Jerry Smith. And he just, like, there's nothing polite about that. Like, everyone's like, man, what sportsmanship? I'm like, this isn't a boxing match!
But fighting is just another aspect of a hockey game.
What did it do?
The way it was.
What did it do?
It fired up your team, and it got them motivated, and made them score that extra goal.
So, if you lose a fight, you should be criticized then. If you lose a fight in hockey, you should be criticized.
I guess.
If you should be praised for hyping your team up for winning a fight, you should be criticized for losing.
Yeah.
I mean, by that logic, if you get knocked out and stretchered off, your team should go, boo! You suck. No, but it would demoralize your team, wouldn't it?
Maybe it's just a break even. Maybe if you win the fight, you get the motivation, and then if you lose, it's just nothing happens. It's neutral.
I don't know. Like, I loved, like they said, I missed it live, but on Twitter, they're like, oh, PK Subban fought Evgeny Malkin. It was like, oh, sick! And then I looked at the fight, and it was just a hugging match.
It wasn't a fight.
But if it was a fight, that would have been sick, because it would have been two stars going at each other out of rage and out of competition.
But also, is it good to see two guys box each other on ice skates?
I don't think it's a good... Oh, we're well past is it a good idea. I mean, is slashing someone a good idea?
Like
is
if we said,
cross-checking a good idea?
last night Carmelo fought LeBron James on the court. Like that's... If you saw that headline, you'd be like, oh my God, that's a terrible thing. These two grown men got into a fist fight.
A fist fight.
Like that's a dangerous thing. You don't want to hear that your friend got into a fist fight at a bar. You'd be like, oh my God, is he okay? What happened? But in hockey, it's like...
Did you win?
Oh, yeah. Also, did you win?
Did you win?
But in hockey, it's like, oh my God, I gotta see. That's so cool. Is that the right way?
Because it's part of the culture.
Yeah.
Like, I hate these memes that I keep seeing, like, an NBA fight versus an NHL fight. Okay, once again, fighting's allowed in hockey. Take the toughest guy in the NHL. LeBron probably eats his food.
100%.
The NHL guy is more well-seasoned, so maybe there's something to that.
Are they fighting on ice?
Yeah, we're losing sight of the fact that fighting's allowed.
Yeah.
It's if you get kicked out of the game, right? If you land a punch, you get
For
kicked
basketball?
out. Yeah.
You'll be suspended.
Yeah, not just kicked out of the game, kicked out of future games.
Like multiple dozens of games.
It's not
you
the
can't
same
fight
thing.
people, yeah.
Rugnan Odor and Jose Bautista. Cool moment. It was on all the highlight reels. Guess what? You're both gone.
You're
Jose
banned.
Bautista got suspended for receiving a punch.
For getting knocked on his ass.
Yeah! Like, you're not allowed. It's not allowed in baseball. It's not allowed in basketball. It's allowed in hockey. You get a 5-minute major. Okay.
You got a time.
Compared to the other sports, compared to the NFL, you can't do that in arguably the most violent sport there is.
Yeah, for where a long time you could hit a guy with a metal object on your head to his other head.
Can't do
just
it.
Nail him in the face. But you can't fight.
Yeah,
Can't fight.
well, hey, we got to protect his head. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't remember how we got on this
Chris
topic.
Neal. That's how we got here.
Chris Neal.
Yes. Anyways.
My point, I guess my point is players like Chris Neal won't totally go away because Chris Neal could play hockey for a big chunk of his career. There's so many guys who, if they actually focused on the hockey part of being a hockey player, would have been fine. Like Tom Sestito scored 40 goals in the OHL.
Even when Nick Kypreos sat here, he had to fight to keep his job.
There's another guy. He scored 17 goals one year.
How many did he score in junior? Didn't he have like a 40-goal season or
He had
whatever?
crazy seasons.
30-goal season?
Crazy seasons.
Yeah.
I remember. I feel like I told this story on the podcast recently, but one of my very first times getting a press pass for the Marlies, I can't believe they gave that to me. I got to talk to Ryan Holwig, and I remember him being on the Leafs, and then he got sent down. And he had like a 2-goal game in the AHL. And I asked him about it because like it's weird that Ryan Holwig had a 2-goal game. I'm like, oh, like where did that come from? And he was insulted, and rightfully so, because he's like, well, I've played hockey before. I scored in junior. I know what I'm doing.
Good hockey player.
And then you look at his stats and you just go, well, why? I understand that like it's not always going to translate.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's what Ryan Holwig had to do. He got to the NHL. Or at very least professional hockey, like the AHL, because he was a good hockey player. To stay there, he had to fight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many guys there are like that today. I don't know.
No.
I see proving yourself often backfires so often. Kirby Reichel, first game in the Leafs organization, first game with the Marlies, or was it an exhibition game? I don't remember. Anyway, he gets into a fight. I think he stuck up for a teammate. Pretty sure he got the instigator. Pretty sure he got kicked out of the game. And he had a terrible start to the season. It derailed the whole thing. And it took him
what was the point of all that?
Took him a few weeks to get started. Like, not everything. It's great when it works out.
Yeah.
You know, Dion Phaneuf fought, I want to say, Colin White in his first game as a Leaf against the Devils. And that was like he rode the rest of the season off of that fight. He scored 2 goals. Scored 2 goals.
But the fight worked.
But the fight and the excitement, and the Leafs were garbage, but hey, at least we got Phaneuf. That was fun.
Well, look at David Clarkson.
That preseason, and he didn't even throw a punch.
No.
That arguably ruined his career.
Entirely. I think that's the narrative that everyone runs with.
Is there a Rick and Morty fantasy reality
Can we just talk about Rick and Morty? Can this be a Rick and Morty podcast?
I love Rick and Morty. Anyway, is there an alternate reality where that never happened and Clarkson is a consistent 20-goal scorer for the Leafs? 15, 20-goal scorer, 40, 50-point scorer for the Leafs.
There might be. You hate saying this one moment pinpoints his entire career. You think he's a well-rounded human, if he can move on from that, but it seems like that just threw him off. And then he could never get started. And then once you never get started, you could never get going, and it never worked out.
And then I think he tried too hard.
Yeah.
Got injured. Now, would those injuries have happened anyway? Maybe. I don't know. But, like, holy smokes. The one thing you can never fault David Clarkson for as a Leaf was effort.
Trying.
That guy friggin' tried. Yeah. He tried. I've never seen someone try so hard to live up to the hype. And he was just hyped too much.
Speaking of injuries, Erik Karlsson.
Yes.
Out 4 months with knee surgery. Here, I'll read this to you. The Ottawa Senators.
Oh, his knee.
Yes.
Oh, that's new. Okay.
The Ottawa Senators are hopeful that Erik Karlsson will be ready for the start of the 2017-2018 season following surgery to his left foot on Wednesday. I don't know why I wrote knee surgery.
Karlsson's his foot.
Yeah, his foot. Sorry. Karlsson thrived despite the injury, piling up 18 points in 19 games while soaking up more than 28 minutes per game. Ottawa said the tears to Karlsson's foot were found during an MRI, this is the key point, following the season. After the first round against Boston, Karlsson revealed that he had been playing through a hairline fractures in the same left foot, injury suffered in late March, he said. Now.
Oh, so after the regular season.
Why did they do the MRI following the season? And do we believe that they didn't know that he would require this surgery in the middle of the playoffs?
Well,
because they must have known that, hey, if we take a look at this, he's probably not going to be able to play tomorrow when we're in the Eastern Conference Finals. So let's kind of delay this a couple weeks, and then he can sit out 4 months and be ready for next year.
And I'm sure he was cool with it.
But that's not
hockey players are lunatics. Professional athletes are lunatics. They want to play. God, that's a question I was going to ask him, man, was what's the craziest injury you've ever played through?
I wish we had more time, Drew. It's okay.
I know.
It's my fault. I'm sorry.
Well, I was like, okay, I should ask some of my own questions. And then I asked too many. How many Twitter questions did we get to? 2, 3?
We got 3.
I wrote down like 12. Oh, man. I'm sorry, everybody.
Sorry. Next time. There'll be a next time.
There will be
with another player. Next time Lays wants to come in.
Yeah, you want to... Sorry.
So, Karlsson, what do you think?
Well, if he's out 4 months, it's going to be difficult to get back from... going to be difficult to get back for the beginning of the season because that's how math works.
Yeah, they said they're hopeful that he can be ready.
Okay. Well, 1 month takes you to mid-July. Another month takes you to mid-August. Another month takes you to mid-September, and now mid-October. Well, the season often starts on like October 1st. Is Erik Karlsson going to come back too early and completely derail this end season?
Did he also not leave early enough? Is he gonna be affected on both sides? Because playing with
he was in the conference final and looked fantastic. He had a chance. He was right there. I'd have done the same thing.
Okay, that's the key there.
I would have done the same thing. Yeah. And to your question of, is that dumb? Of course. But I want to win the Stanley Cup. That's what it is. Like, there's... I have this conversation with my wife sometimes. She's like, aren't you going to be tired tomorrow? Like, if I stay up till 2 or 3 writing something?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes.
But...
Well, don't you think sleep's important? Of course I do. But I got to get this done. Like, I've hated some of the, like, workaholic stuff I've seen recently where... There was this one, I want to say it was like an Apple ad where it's like, I had to sacrifice time with my kids so that I could work on my career. I'm like, you're neglecting your children? Asshole? That's your primary job as a father.
I think that should take priority over anything, sir.
Yeah, no, but there are some occasions where, maybe you got to take a business trip and you're away from your kids for like a little bit. But if it's happening all the time,
I've never seen my son. He's 8.
you do have a bit of a say in that. And like, yeah, I would say if you need to make a sacrifice sometimes and stay up till 2 or 3 and get 4 or 5 hours sleep, yeah, definitely do it. Don't do it all the time. You'll die.
Yeah.
You'll die. I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Well, you will die.
Yeah. And then I realized I was sick in the head and my head hurt and I was dumb. There was I don't even remember when it was. This is how much brain damage I was doing to myself. Where I realized I couldn't remember anything or concentrate on anything, and I basically just didn't read for a year because I didn't have the brain strength.
You were functioning at any capacity.
It's dumb.
Yeah. Anyways, it makes me uncomfortable, but to hear that he was playing with these injuries and that they would delay his MRI and that he's going to be out 4 months and that he's probably going to be ready for the regular season when he probably shouldn't be.
Sid, it was dangerous to do what you did. It was dangerous to play those games. You might have, risked brain injury, long-term effects. You might have risked your career.
Yeah.
Yes, but I won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
I'm not saying yes, but he won the Stanley Cup. I'm saying as Sidney Crosby, yes, but I won the cup. Am I wrong?
Nope.
No? Look at this. Look at this. Look at the ring. See the cup? That's my name. Back to back.
As a regular human, it's just hearing these things that athletes do is crazy. Let me change the camera.
Well, yeah, it's not like, Boris, he's right now he's working with a fractured femur, 2 broken fingers, broken forearm, ruptured spleen, punctured lungs, just like Patrice Bergeron. But I tell you what, he's the best damn salesman in the office. He's the best painter we have.
Okay.
He is the best zoo ticket taker. He's the best Zoomobile commentator we have. I once took a day off at the zoo because I had a sunburn.
Did you actually?
It was really, really bad.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really hot day, and I was like, I'm going to be in a lot of pain all day. I don't need to do this.
That's not what a hockey player would do.
No, but hockey players make millions of dollars. I made $12 an hour, so there's the difference.
We've been burying the lead all show.
What that?
Not Drew Doughty. Not Carlson, not Chris Neal. The main talking point.
Oli Mata being passed out on a patio.
That was hilarious.
Jake Gensel chugging a beer. Justin Schultz chugging a beer.
We should play that clip.
We should.
Connor McKenna.
Oh.
He's from TSN 690 in Montreal. He's the
and
host of their
NHL
morning
Network.
show.
I'm on the show often. He's a lovely man.
He tweeted.
Are you about to say? I'm like, he's a great guy, and you're gonna be like, he said something racist. No, what he say?
Hearing a lot of rumblings that a Drouin for Galchenyuk swap is coming.
That was him?
That was him.
I didn't know he said that.
That's where it broke.
Oh my God! So this is legitimate?
I'm not a trade breaker, so take it for what it's worth. Again, nothing definitive, but sounds like the Habs will be packaging a first with Galchenyuk in the deal.
Oh, I was about to say, wow, Galchenyuk for Drouin is actually a pretty fair deal. Ooh. Ooh.
So what do you think, Steve Dangle?
God, well, what's their pick, like 20th? Something like that?
Yeah, it would be down there, yeah, because they... in the
Boy,
playoffs
that's
there.
a lot. Now,
this isn't rumor break. This isn't smart insider man, but it's a legit source.
I don't think he breaks very much.
He said it himself.
Yeah, but I trust those guys. Like, he has a reputation to uphold, and the fact that he doesn't break much makes me believe him, because why would he do this? It's like what I said about Jay Zawaski from Chicago in a video. I don't know if I did it on the podcast. He was the guy who was like, the Blackhawks are moving to core piece. Mm-hmm. It's not Taves.
No, that was in it. That was in a video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know about this guy as an insider, but why would he make it up? That doesn't make any sense. There's no personal benefit to that. This is interesting because we forget that not absolutely everything revolves around the expansion draft. Every year, every offseason, and every draft, there are trades. Sometimes they're big ones. Sometimes it's PK Subban for Shea Weber. Sometimes it's Taylor Hall for Adam Larson. This would be a deal that would have nothing to do with the expansion draft.
This would be,
I think,
a player for player. But
player for player plus a pick.
But
yes,
it doesn't make sense to me because Montreal needs a center.
Yes.
Drouin is a winger.
Yes. Well, they would argue that Galchenyuk's a winger.
Tampa needs a defenseman. Galchenyuk doesn't play D.
Just saying. If this deal has nothing to do with the expansion draft, when does it happen? Does it happen at the draft? At the actual draft? The entry draft? Okay, here's what I'm struggling with. There's the expansion draft, and then you can't just call the next thing the draft. But they dropped the entry draft.
Did they really?
From it, yeah, so now it's just the draft.
Why did they drop that?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm not going to call it the draft. I'm not going to call it the actual draft because that's starting to piss me off.
It's called the entry draft.
I'm going to call it the entry draft.
Yeah.
Jesus. That is interesting.
Do you see it making sense for both sides? Do you see that as a fair deal with the first round pick?
I would take Drouin over Galch probably.
You would?
Yeah, but Galch in a first is a lot. That is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I'm not totally stoked as a Leafs fan of the Habs giving Tampa a first-round pick. I trust Tampa to do more things with that pick than Montreal. I'm happy with Montreal having all their picks because they've drafted some good guys, but boy, they're rough in the first round.
Yeah.
Carey Price notwithstanding.
This is a good one.
They've had some really rough picks. Where's
Galchenyuk taken?
Third overall. It doesn't count.
It counts. It's the first round.
Price was top 5 and Galch was top 5.
Okay.
Outside of those two, Michael McCarron.
If it's a next year, say it's a 2018 first rounder, that might be a low down 20s as well. It might be like 25, might be 30.
See, that's
31?
Exactly what I always advise against. Yeah. Never trade a first rounder a year ahead of time. If I'm Tampa, I would prefer the 2018 first to the 2017 because I think that one's going to be higher. How long are the Habs going to do this? If anything, I think this year is going to be their completely go for it year, where they just straight up add. They friggin' won the division and then lost in the first round. How old is Carey Price now? When's Carey Price's contract up? How old's Shea Weber now? His contract's never up, but how old is he now? They got to go for it. So I would rather have Montreal's 2018 pick.
This deal sounds like a go for it deal. Drouin?
Well, because I think Drouin is better than Galchenyuk.
Yeah. So you're improving on your roster.
And you know what Bergevin is lacking? Brownie points. You know what gets you brownie points? The French guy. Which is just a very strange aspect of being the GM of the Montreal Canadiens.
The French guy.
Well, it's true. It's true. Like, I would feel bad saying it. I would feel weird saying it if it wasn't absolutely 100% true. It's just the reality. They've had a few captains who were not Francophone and got shit for it. And they've had a few coaches who were not Francophone and they got shit for it. There's a reason that it was Michel Therrien and then Claude Julien and the GM is Marc Bergevin and Jonathan Drouin would fit in better than Galchenyuk.
Yes.
To some fans. Like I don't think any of those fans listen to this show. I don't. But there's a huge section of that fan base. Like, it's funny. We talk about the Leafs as like these analytic poster boys, or at least we have for so long, and they're going to be the small, speedy, skilled team, and it's really working out for them. But there is definitely a big chunk, like a completely ignored chunk of the fan base who still wants a player like Dougie.
Yeah.
They want a player like Wendell.
Yeah.
Let's ignore that era-adjusted numbers. Wendell wasn't even that crazy good. Wasn't even... The LeafsNation.com, if I'm not mistaken, made their all-time Leafs team for the Centennial.
Okay.
So they made 4 lines, 3 pairings, 2 goalies or 3 goalies.
This was back in January they made this.
I want to say it was before the season.
Oh, before the season. Okay.
Clark didn't make the team.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, you're nuts. And then I looked at the picks and I was like, shit. Clark doesn't make this team.
I would say, was Matthews on the team?
I don't think he was.
Because I was going to say, drop a guy.
This season pushes him even further down the chart.
You probably drop 2 guys. You probably throw Marner on there. He's probably an all-time player just by this one season.
Matthews, as a rookie, had probably one of the top 5 seasons any Leaf has ever had.
Ever. Yeah.
Legitimately.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
We're short on star players.
Yeah, it's funny. They have so many cups over so many decades.
Yeah.
Real lack of star power.
So many cups.
Yeah, shut up. Second most cups. They do.
There were 6 teams.
So?
There were 6 teams.
So? Yeah. You're right.
Anyways, do you want their salary cap numbers? So.
Drouin and
Drouin's an RFA?
Well, Galchenyuk's. Drouin's an RFA?
Galchenyuk's an RFA.
Why isn't that a bigger deal?
Galchenyuk's 23. Drouin is 22.
Why isn't that a bigger deal? We've heard so much about Galchenyuk and that's going to be a tough negotiation. I haven't heard a damn thing about Drouin, which is incredible because his last contract negotiation was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't that be like
he
one
sat out?
Oh my God. I think we're going to get blindsided by a lot of stuff in the next week or two. Just because there's too much to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. And we're going to forget about things like Jonathan Drouin. I completely forgot.
Sneaking by as an RFA, yeah. So you swap your young RFAs, your 20-something-year-old RFAs, and then Montreal has to send a first-round pick because one's better. But it seems like too high of a price to pay.
That much better.
Yeah. Berkshire did tweet. Hold on, let me pull this up.
And those 2 guys are buddies.
Yeah. Berkshire did tweet, if this is true, it's worthwhile to know that Galchenyuk and Drouin had virtually identical per-minute impacts last year.
Well, so those numbers are always very interesting. But Justin Bourne, shortly before he kind of went quiet in the blogosphere and joined the Toronto Marlies as their video coach, talked about how per minute...
big person job.
Yes. Well, he talked about how per minute stats are kind of, they're not the best evaluator.
Oh, really?
Okay, it's based on those stats. You go, he gets, I don't know a good number, half a point for every 10 minutes he plays. Therefore, if I make him play 20 minutes a night, he'll get 1 point every single night. Point a game player. There it is. No, that's not how it works. Some players are sheltered and they succeed in their sheltered role. And if you throw them in deeper water, they drown. So you got to bring them back. Mm-hmm. Depends who they're playing with. Depends who they're playing against. I'd be more interested in seeing that. Galchenyuk played a variety of roles. Where did he succeed the most? Where did Drouin succeed the most? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, both of those guys are primarily wingers who are fighting to establish themselves as centers. Because I think because of all the injuries, Drouin was forced to play some center this year.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure about that, yeah. We know Galchenyuk's history of being a center has been well publicized. So he's been flip-flopping back and forth all the season.
Here's where this trade might make some sense. You look at, try to get into Mark Bergevin's head. Okay? Let's pretend, I think he genuinely thinks Shea Weber is a better player than PK Subban. So there's a factor. Let's pretend it's not that big of a factor. He viewed Subban as a bit of a pain in his ass. And maybe a bit of a locker room distraction. Weber will come in and be as good as Subban, if not better, and not be any of those things. Jonathan Drouin had his little contract controversy, but outside of that, he was welcomed back into the team with open arms, and it was great. Galchenyuk has been a bit of a pain in the ass. Going out and partying. There was that crazy thing with his girlfriend, and I mean, it sounded like he was the victim of some abuse. There was something about a house party I seem to remember. I know we talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
It was a big thing on Twitter. Marc Bergevin does not like when players are a pain in his ass. Maybe Galchenyuk has been a bit of a pain in his ass, and he's willing to do a swap that looks a little bit 1-for-1. He probably looks at the Subban-Weber trade as working out for him because his team won the division. They did better in the regular season than the Preds did. Weber scored, 17 goals?
Yeah.
Butt ton of goals?
Yeah.
So he's going, okay, now imagine how much better our character will be with Shea Weber and Drouin instead of Subban and Galch. I believe it. I don't think it's just a trade that makes sense from like a rumor standpoint. I think this is something Bergevin would genuinely consider based on his history. Plus, he's French.
Thinking like that on an emotional level where you're trying to manage these personalities and how they deal with you and not how they're received in the locker room is problematic to me. If Bergevin's thinking, hey, I can't get along with PK, I think he's a problem, I'm going to trade him, I think that's bad for your hockey team.
I don't think it's him getting along with PK or him getting along with Gauch. I think it's like it didn't sound like Therrien was the biggest fan. And then Claude Julien comes in and then they double down on they're not sure if he's ever going to be a center.
Mm-hmm.
Drouin, he's a little bit younger, could be a center. And you know what? If he's not a center, at very least, he will be French and not a pain in my ass.
Yes. One final note on it. Bob McKenzie tweeted after these rumors broke yesterday. On Galchenyuk future in Montreal. My take as follows. Montreal is most certainly listening on trade talks. Where have we heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
By no means is it assured Galchenyuk will be traded, but Montreal needs help at center, and it's become clear Montreal doesn't view AG as a center. There you go.
I supposedly Moneyball was off on a lot of stuff, but I'm
movie?
Yeah. But I'm willing to bet trade talks do often happen along the lines of the deadline day there, where they're just calling up and wheeling and dealing, and it's a lot of last minute crap. Mm-hmm. Like you can have rumors out there, you can have all kinds of stuff, but I think if someone just hot potatoes like a really enticing deal in your lap, and at the draft you're on the freaking clock and you got other shit to concentrate on, and I got to talk to this guy and that. I think unexpected things happen. I think things will break that were never rumors because no one ever heard anything about them because they developed right there on the spot.
There was no chance for them to be a rumor because it just happened, yeah.
Exactly. We think it's going to be Gauch Drouin, and then maybe it's Gauch someone else, and we're going to be like, where the hell was that rumor? Oh, you were completely wrong, Connor McKenna. Maybe things completely changed at the last minute.
This is so much fun because I've never been through anything like this before.
Well, and I don't remember it. Like
No.
I want to say it was like 11 or 12 last time there was an expansion draft.
Yeah, I know.
I don't pay attention to the fucking rules.
I didn't know what a salary cap was. There was no salary cap, but I didn't know any of this stuff. No.
Yeah, I just remember, the Thrashers come around, and I'm like, oh, Kelly Buckberger's on the Thrashers.
Yeah. Oh, there's a new team.
I guess he got traded there, or he's signed there. Like, I didn't realize you could just take players from teams. I didn't realize you could do that.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've actually been aware for it. It's crazy. It's 17
fun.
years or whatever.
We should ask Drew about it. We should ask him, how does it feel to know that guys are just going to be shipped there?
Well, it would have been nice to ask him about, like, Dustin Brown, for example.
Or, like, the guy. Yeah.
That guy might get traded. He might get bought out.
Nah, anyways. Sorry, Drew.
It's going to be really cool when Dustin Brown's a Hab.
Playing next to Jonathan Drouin.
Yeah. No. Nathan Beaulieu for Dustin Brown.
One more player move before we'll move on.
Sure.
The Flyers are moving on from Steve Mason, according to his agent.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Any effect you see that on the draft? Who do you see him going to? Does he make a good backup for Toronto?
He could. Adam keeps saying him.
Adam keeps saying that. That's why I brought it up. I wish Adam was here.
Well, and I keep thinking about Steve Mason, the $4+ million goalie. If he's willing to be the Steve Mason $2 million goalie, and also, key point, not garbage, I'll take him. Holy smokes! This guy? He's like the Brian McCabe, Francois Beauchemin of goalies. Play a solid game, and just pick one moment to just fart it all out. Oh, Pecorino, there you go. Pecorino will play 99% of a great game.
Yeah.
And then what are you doing? In what world was that the right decision?
And sometimes he does that for 60 minutes, though.
And sometimes he does it for 60 minutes.
Well, for the 35, he's in there.
There you go. Great minds, you see.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take him. I wonder how much, this is dumb, but I wonder how much it screws up goalie coaching to have one goalie that catches left and another goalie that catches right, because Steve Mason is a southpaw. He catches right. He's one of the few guys in the league.
I would have never thought of that. You think it has any effect?
I don't know. Like, I mean, if your coach is telling you to do something, and like he's got his hand positioned a certain way, I mean, like he needs to, like it's got to be different.
Yeah,
it's probably not as simple as like one guy shoots right and one guy shoots left. There aren't a lot of right-handed goalies in the league, or right catching goalies in the league.
Yeah.
Supposedly, I'm weird for all kinds of reasons, but supposedly I'm weird because I used to like playing goalie for street hockey, obviously, but most goalies who catch left teach themselves how to shoot left, or they also shoot left. I feel like more than half of hockey players shoot left.
Yeah, it's the majority.
Yeah. So what most goalies do is they can catch the puck in their left hand, drop it, their right hand is high, and their glove hand is their low hand on their stick when they handle it.
Yeah.
I catch with my left, and I shoot with my right, though.
You're doing it wrong.
No, that's just how I do it.
How your glove hand is on the top, then.
Yeah, which I know
you can't hold the stick.
I know.
See, you've just developed a bad habit.
But like I've tried to do all these things, and it feels weird to catch with my right, and I can't shoot with my left. It feels strange. I can't do it. I shoot with my right.
That's so weird.
I want to say Curtis Joseph did it that way.
Yeah.
There's been a couple goalies like who have done it.
Oh,
but it's unusual.
Yeah, the image looks so weird to me.
Oh, it's definitely wrong, but that's how I do it.
Whatever works.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't even know who I could reach out to.
I wish we had Scrivens.
Well, yeah, but did he ever play with a goalie who caught right? I'm trying to think.
I'm sure you would know though, as an NHL goalie.
Like there hasn't even been that many like good ones.
Yeah.
Does Mike Smith?
I don't know.
I think he might. Jose Theodore, I think. There hasn't been that many, but yeah, Steve Mason catches right.
Okay.
So like it's gotta be a little strange.
He seems like an okay fit if he's willing to take a little bit of money, a lot less money to come to Toronto.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
The demand for backups will be high, and I think he'll be one of the better guys available. But he's one of those just rodeo wild card picks, where like. Who's a better bet to give $4 million a season to? Steve Mason, who won the Calder and has a track record of being a starting goalie and a good one, or Scott Darling?
$4 million for Steve Mason, you think?
Well, the reason I ask that is because Scott Darling's making $4 million.
Okay.
Which I think that, they're putting a lot of faith in Scott Darling. And looking at his numbers, there's every reason to have that faith in him. Mm-hmm. But holy smokes, Steve Mason, I look at his track record, I look at how he's done most of the time, and I'm encouraged.
Yeah.
But boy, can he stink. He can be really, really bad. And I'm not talking about he occasionally lays an egg like any goalie will do. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about all of last season he couldn't figure it out.
But does that balance out for the 18 games we'll need him?
Great question, Jesse. Now imagine if that was a $3 million question.
It is.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I bet he gets something around that.
Yeah, by some team, yeah.
I wouldn't give it to him personally.
It's going to be Dallas. Dallas is going to sign every
need it.
goalie.
They need the goaltending. Yeah.
They're going to get 18 goalies. They're all going to play at one time. And it's going to be a great time.
Yeah. They're going to be the first team to pull a forward.
And they're
going for the extra goalie. I wish you could do that. Why can't you? It's dumb that you can't. No, it's dumb. It's dumb.
You probably can't.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on from hockey?
Okay.
Do you have any? Did we miss anything? I think we got all the hockey news that happened.
We didn't really say much about the Penguins, but I don't know. I didn't see much from it.
From the parade?
Yeah.
Yeah. They looked like they had a good time.
Supposedly Phaneuf won't waive his no trade clause. Did we ever touch that?
We talked about that on Tuesday.
We talked about he was asked to. Did we talk about he didn't?
I believe so. Do you have any? Go ahead if you have thoughts.
Well, it's just... so I tweeted this, and a few people were like, well, here, let me say what I tweeted first.
Okay.
You're Dion Phaneuf. You've been the Leafs captain. You've been a Leaf when they were terrible. Arguably the worst stretch in Leafs history. Now, you can stay with the Ottawa Senators in Ontario, which you're familiar with, who you just went to the conference final with, who you just finished a goal away from the Stanley Cup final with. Or you can start all over again and join an expansion team in Vegas that's probably going to be closer to the Leafs that he's familiar with than the Sens of this year. I don't blame Phaneuf for not waiving it.
No.
And there's a reason he has it. Now, people's counterpoint was, well, do you trust Ottawa to be actually that good? And my answer is, well, no,
Are the Senators
I don't.
actually good?
I don't think the Senators are actually good. But players make those bets, and it's up to them. You know who made a terrible, terrible bet a few years ago? Jerome McGinley. Mm-hmm. He made a 3-year bet on the Colorado Avalanche. Yep. Great young team. The only place they have to go is up, and I'm gonna win a cup here. Nope. Very all the way nope. It is what it is.
Elliot Freeman was on Tim and Sid yesterday. Me and Adam were watching in the studio. And he said, you beg for guys to want to come play for your team. And now you have a guy who wants to play for the Ottawa Senators, and you want to run him out of town. How does that look?
Hey, you knew what you were getting. This was a complicated, intricate deal between the Leafs and Sens. Now, I mean, it's funny. I think because a lot of fans were like, well, they could protect Cody Ceci, and if you're Vegas, why would you take Phaneuf?
Yeah.
Why would you take Phaneuf? He'd probably be their best defenseman. I know he's overpaid, but he would probably be their best defenseman.
He would be their first pairing.
Probably be their captain.
Who else are you going to get that's better than Dion Phaneuf? It's an expansion.
He'd be captain of the first Las Vegas Golden Knights team. And their best defenseman, maybe even best player, probably best player. Yeah. That's why they would take him. Like,
besides probably their goalie, which will probably be somebody really
good. And I mean, his contract is, I think it's bad. I think it's not that good if you're Ottawa. It's fine if you're Vegas. They're not going to be near the cap ceiling in a competitive mode. There's a difference between being at the cap ceiling and you're not too worried about winning, like the Coyotes, or being at the cap ceiling and you're actually trying to win. Vegas isn't going to be that for a little while, and Phaneuf's contract expires, I think, in 4 years after this one.
It's not bad.
No. Like, I don't think... Like, I think the reason Phaneuf refused to waive it is because there's a good chance he would get picked. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the advice his agent gave him.
Well, he has the freedom, and we can't criticize him for exercising his right.
And you leave money on the table to sign those things, and it's also to control your own destiny because he obviously waived it once already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he waived it already to come to Ottawa.
He got the no-move clause for control and also stability. And what would be less stable than getting traded twice in 2 years? No.
He has it written in there. He has every right to say no. You can't criticize him for it.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting to a point in his life where He doesn't have a kid yet, I don't think, but maybe.
How many years does he have left playing hockey?
Maybe they're thinking about settling down, and maybe he just doesn't want to fucking move again.
Yeah, all the way to Vegas.
Yeah, it's no player with a no movement clause should be expected to ever waive it. Okay. That's why. Oh, you know what we forgot to mention last show? I forgot to mention last show. Holy shit, what a guy Marc-Andre Fleury is.
Yes.
So everyone focused on. So supposedly he waived his no move clause in February. And what people were saying about that is, wow, it must have been so hard for him to play through that mentally, like knowing that, and just, what a good guy, what a strong guy. And in my mind, I'm like, why would he waive it in February? Oh, he waived it in February to give Pittsburgh an easier time at the trade deadline. He arguably, I was going to say arguably he did it so that they wouldn't trade him. That's not true. That's what that clause is for. They can't trade him.
Yeah.
But Ron Hainsey was a spectacular defenseman for the Penguins in the playoffs. Maybe that knowledge helped them go out and get him. Maybe helped them go out and get Mark Streit. Like, who else did they go out and get? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know.
It was only a couple spare parts. Maybe that's what allowed them to do the Eric Fair trade. And that helped them get under the cap or whatever. Like, just what a guy. Like, what a completely selfless team player.
I did this thing to help my franchise. That has it doesn't benefit him at all.
The only thing, so we talked about, I think, Fleury going to Vegas, and that would give him a raise due to taxes.
Oh, yeah, less income tax, yeah.
But then the rumor was he's going to go to Vegas and get flipped, which then that means he is guaranteeing, all but guaranteeing, he'll be the guy, he'll be the sacrificial lamb for the Penguins. No other Penguin will get taken because he's getting taken.
Yep.
Who is this guy?
Jesus.
Apparently. Holy shit.
Yeah, I never realized Marc-Andre Fleury was such a saint.
Like, at what point does George McPhee just go, oh my God, here, I'll give you back. Like, I'm sorry. Holy shit. I'll trade you back to the Penguins and retain half your salary because I feel terrible.
Because you were so nice to me.
Jesus, man. I forgive you for all the things you did to the Capitals. Oh my God.
Maybe he wants to go.
No.
He couldn't. No.
I
said it, and it sounded ridiculous, and then I continued to say it, and it was just no.
Maybe he hates the Penguins.
Maybe he doesn't like winning.
Maybe he slapped Sidney Crosby in the face once.
Maybe. Behind closed doors. Him and Sidney Crosby just bare knuckle box.
You know what I'm excited for?
What are you excited for?
I'm going to Halifax this summer. And...
are you going to see Sidney Crosby?
Well, last summer...
You're going to Cole Harbour?
Last summer, Sidney Crosby brought the Stanley Cup to Cole Harbour. I believe it was on June 18th. Or, sorry, July 18th.
Okay. I was about to say, the day after he won the Stanley Cup.
Or was it July 16th? Anyway, it was in that area.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there July 10th to 17th. Mm-hmm. Stevie might be going to a Stanley Cup parade.
That's cool.
That'd be fun. I mean, we don't know yet.
Yeah, you just have to luck out.
Yeah, basically.
I wish they would release those schedules.
They don't keep it secret. Different places announce it. Supposedly, he's got like a hockey school that announced it last year. Friggin' Mrs. Dangle is on this shit, okay?
Yeah.
She is on it. She is on it. They don't keep it a secret, but like, yeah, it would be nice if they like issued a press release. Chris Kunitz gets it this day. Crosby gets
You can visit it in this town unless they
it probably
want
changes though.
Unless they want to just bring it to their house and have a barbecue.
Yeah, like what if I don't know, what if something bad happened and everyone's all sad and you got your day with no, you're gonna want to, hey, Schultze, can you take it today?
Yeah, let's go.
I'll take this in a couple of weeks.
I shouldn't really be celebrated.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that's happened.
Do you want to hear the I sign it, you chug it from Jake and Bake?
Oh my God. Okay.
It's from the parade.
Okay.
Jake Gensel signing a beer can, and he says, "If I sign this, you have to chug it."
So he chugged. Oh my.
No,
God.
he gave it to
he
the
signed
fan.
the beer can.
Yes.
Sign the beer. I sign it. You chug it.
seems like the coolest kid ever.
You know what's great is hockey is such a fuddy-duddy culture. Do you see Doughty took a little bit of offense to that?
Because when you get them outside of the arena, they are dudes who are... Their Twitter handles are Jake and Bake 20.
Yeah.
And they're chugging beers with fans.
It's such a fuddy-duddy culture, but if you're at a cup parade, just do whatever the fuck you want. Just be crazy, chug. Like, the Penguins, half of the Penguins were openly dicked. Like, they were completely hammered. Matta was passed out. In public! Like,
he's a millionaire!
I know it was someone being a creep from a balcony, but like, they probably wouldn't go outside in normal circumstances.
No.
Like, but guess what? Cup parade!
But your point of Doughty, yeah, he got kind of like...
He even went...
that again. Ooh. Oh, we're not fun? We don't have personalities? You ever get me at a bar? It's kind of... that's the vibe he gave off.
And that's not something... But that's not something they can say.
Nope.
Maybe that is something he could say in 2012 or 2014 when the Kings won the Cup, but they just missed the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Now he can't be having a good time.
No.
No, he's working.
No, but you can't have a good time and work.
Sorry.
Uncomfortable. Steve, you've never played hard.
I've never played the game.
Never played. Anyways.
That's going to be a chunk of my book.
Yeah? Never playing?
Never playing.
Huh.
Never play.
Do you want to talk more about your book? Do you have any... How much are you going to be talking about in the next year? Are you going to go
Not
like
much.
completely dark and then just kind of when it's done, you'll be like, okay, I got this.
Well, okay. It's a tightrope because this podcast, I think part of the reason it's doing well and people are lovely.
Untrue.
It's true. Yeah.
Untrue.
It's true that it's untrue.
Thank you.
Is because we're very open on the show and we don't really keep any secrets.
Okay.
So it's going to be a tightrope being very open about all kinds of things and saving stuff for the book. I guarantee the podcast will be good. It's a matter of saving the book, right? It's a matter of saving things for the book. But like, I was thinking about it. It's funny. So I got the book deal, sent in the book proposal and everything.
Sign the papers.
Yeah, but the actual book itself in my head has developed over the last like 4 days.
Really? It's been that?
Well, I had a basic idea of how I was going to do it, and I listened to Charlemagne's book, and then I started listening to it again because like you pay close attention to the details when you hear something the first time, and then the second time. I knew all the details already, so now I'm paying attention to... Oh, sorry. So now I'm paying... Speaking of paying attention to the details, the mic was facing the wrong way. So I know the details now, so now I'm paying attention to the structure. And I listened to, like, the first half of his thing, and I was just like, oh, I get it now. I get it. This is how... So I would say... yeah, no, I don't want to give a whole lot away. No, but
I think that's best. I think like even when you're interviewing people about your book, I wouldn't tell any of those stories until they're in your book. Like if you go and you sit down with X person about your time at blah place, I wouldn't share that you're going to sit down with that. I would just hold that information and then let people digest it when they read it.
And also you and Adam seem so stoked about the idea that I was going to quote people. I don't think I'm actually going to do that.
No, I don't think I was successful.
Oh, okay. So
I think it should be in your words.
Yeah. So no, I'm going to talk to these people, get details from them, and like certainly thank them. But like, I'm not going to be like, here's what so and so said about my experience at this.
No,
I don't think that makes any sense. It's going to be. There's going to be some things. I'm sure I'm going to have conversations with people where they change my mind on certain things, and there's going to be some times where I'm like, I spoke to so and so about this, and they said this. Still, after speaking to them, fuck that opinion.
Yeah.
That's wrong. Straight up, that's wrong.
If you can misremember things, other people can misremember things. You know, it's not... The perspectives of stories is so fascinating because everyone kind of remembers these moments. You ever meet somebody and then they tell you about something, that's how they remember you, and you forget completely that ever happened?
Yeah, I got one of those recently. Well, this year has been particularly weird for that because being on TV, everyone knows you. Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Adam's here.
Hey, Adam Buyout just walked in for everyone listening.
It's a good thing I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, geez, how's your day?
Mike is.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, am I on?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
That's where.
What up, Drew? Oh, this
That's
is
where
weird.
Drew Doughty was sitting.
This is very weird.
Let's
Yeah,
swap.
you want to switch?
Are you sure?
No. I gotta play something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
We're talking about Steve's book. We're about wrapping up. Actually.
Yeah, we're not going into
we're like 2
too much
hours in.
detail, but you asked me if people what was it?
When somebody, Adam, you can answer this too. When you talk to somebody and they remember you for a moment, and you're like, I don't even remember that happened, but then they're always like, that's how I remember you. This happened.
Well, like they remember you in a specific moment.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, remember when this happened? That was blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, I forget that completely happened.
That happens to me all the time.
We're talking about that in relation to Steve's book and how he's going to have to write these stories and people are going to have stories about him and he's probably never going to remember those stories.
Well, and some of them I'm going to be like, oh yeah, no, I remember that. Oh yeah, I think that's how it happened. And then there's going to be others where I'm like, no, no.
Yeah.
I got one recently because I was on TV a fair amount this year, and I'm sure maybe you can have more on this, but everyone knows you all of a sudden, and you hear it through the grapevine. Like my favorite was this guy was like, "Oh yeah, I spoke to this girl, this name," and I'm like, first of all, I recognize the name vaguely, and then he goes, "Yeah, she said she used to bully you," and I'm like, couldn't have been that traumatic because I don't remember who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like. So it's funny how people remember you. We used to talk all the time, and it's like I sat with them at lunch once.
I was actually thinking about that in the shower of all places, because that's where I do my thinking, is in the shower. But I was thinking about
no other place. You just
no other place.
Once you leave the shower, you stop thinking.
Blank
and
slate,
you're on.
man. That's why I'm never stressed.
Exactly.
I've had to teach myself to not have like YouTube videos or music on, like in the shower and like around the house, because I need to allow my brain to just actually think.
Yeah,
Instead of having
driving and showering is when I think.
Yeah, driving
I was thinking
too.
about some of the because we were talking about your book, obviously, and I went home and I took a shower that night, and I thought, what are the moments where I've known Steve, and would he remember these particular moments? So there's moments in high school and stuff which I don't need to reveal right now, that I'm almost sure that had an impact on me, but I'm almost sure you would never remember them.
Yeah.
I told you one that I'm not comfortable telling on the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, this was like one of the most horrible moments of all of high school for me. And you're like, I don't remember that. I was like, no, it was at this party. And you're like, oh, I remember the entire party, but I don't remember any. I don't remember that.
Yeah. Anyway.
Adam, was there anything you wanted to bring up on today's show?
Did you see that Phaneuf had to submit his his limited trade clause team thing?
Is 12 teams?
Yeah. So he's got a no move and a limited no trade as well?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what that means is the no move protects him from Vegas, but maybe he would be open to going to another team?
Yeah, the no move is in place just so he can't be sent out at the minors.
Right.
Like, that's kind of the rule. But then since there's also expansion draft, that kind of falls under that as well.
Because the first time I ever heard of a no move clause was Brian McCabe's contract. And when he got it, it was a 5-year deal, no move clause. And to me, no move means no move, including no trade. So now you're finding out that you can have, movement is movement, right? So if you have a no move, you also have to have a no trade, which is crazy.
Yeah. So it's 12 teams.
12 teams. So he's submitting that. Otherwise, it stays the same as last year's. I would imagine that they try to trade him. I don't know that anybody's going to take that money on, and I don't think Ottawa can retain. But I imagine they try to trade him because they really want to hang on to Mark Mathot. It seems like they really want Mark Mathot.
Could just protect him.
Well, then you've got to give Cody Ceci up.
I think
or Erik Karlsson. Am I right?
Yeah.
Screw
I think
that
a lot
guy.
of fans would argue that the 3 defenders Ottawa should protect are Karlsson, Phaneuf, and Mathot. Well, Karlsson, Phaneuf because you have to, and Mathot. Supposedly Ceci's a disaster, even though he's really young.
Oh,
his possession is really, really bad, and I don't know. I haven't seen the numbers myself.
Did you happen to see? And forgive me if you guys brought this up. Did you happen to see Elliot Friedman on Tim and Sid yesterday?
Yeah, we talked about
this. You did.
Yeah.
The thing that blew me away. What was the contract situation that we didn't know about? That was like there was something that Elliot brought up contract wise, and I was like, what? I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Which team?
Well, first off, he thought about the fact that Clayton Stoner, or he was talking about how Clayton Stoner could be traded from Anaheim along with Sammy Vatanen. So if you want Sammy Vatanen, you take Clayton Stoner's contract as well.
So and there's Clayton Stoner, righties.
Which was crazy. Clayton Stoner, by the way, makes $3.5 million.
Too much.
I don't think he's ever had more than 10 points in a season.
We were sort of talking about that with Dan Girardi. Like, how do these players ever get these deals? Like, let alone the fact that they're bad deals. How did they get them in the first place?
Yeah. Like, I'm shocked. When I looked through his numbers, I was like, the most points he ever had was 10 assists in a season.
Is Dan Girardi one of those guys who had, like, a decent playoffs once or twice? And was able to get, like, just millions and millions of dollars because he played a couple dozen rough and tumble games.
I think he's one of those contracts too that's left over from that era where you've got the grit thing was valued a little bit more, this intangible called grit that they are starting to move away from, because grit is just, okay, you try hard. Well, so does everybody.
There were like several battles going on. I want to say like around 2012 and 2013 in the whole analytics war. There was the Battle of Clarksonburg, the Battle of and Girardi Berg, I don't know, whatever, is that I remember that being a big one.
Right.
Like supposedly possession wise, especially compared to his teammates, like he's just brutal. Like we're not talking he's overpaid, we're talking this guy maybe shouldn't be in the league.
His hero chart has a 0 in shot suppression. A 0. Now there's like a 2-point, I guess, room margin for error there, but 0.
Which means he could be -2.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so I've got nothing else to add if you guys have covered all the hockey news from today.
I was trying to look for the Friedman clip, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, there was something contract-wise where Elliot Friedman brought it up, and I can't remember what it was. Look it up. I encourage you to look it up, because Elliot Friedman was talking about a contract situation.
He's not going to bed, eh?
And we were both
2 weeks.
Yeah, and we were both like, Jesse and I were like, what? What?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Never heard that before. Forget what it
I
was.
feel like every day I'm like, oh, Elliot Friedman was on Tim and Sid. Elliot Friedman was on in Calgary. Elliot Friedman was on in Pittsburgh.
I know what it was.
What was it?
So it was about Dion Phaneuf.
Okay.
So the first thing he said, which I thought was brilliant, was, Ottawa always complains about, players not wanting to play here. And then they get a player that won't waive his no move.
Yeah.
And he's upset. Yeah. And then the second thing was, if Phaneuf waives his no move clause, that means that he may never get that back.
There we go.
Which
yeah.
I didn't know.
But didn't he waive it already
to
get there?
No, if he waives it and goes to Vegas, then it's gone. If you waive it to go to Vegas, then you don't get it back.
Because it's a no move. It's not a no trade.
That's rule?
That's the rule Elliot said. Yeah.
So the Leafs could trade him.
Thank you for remembering that.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure Ottawa was on his 12 lists, or list of 12 teams that he could be traded to. But a no move means you can be waived, right?
I think so there's been these rumors about Seattle potentially getting a team in a few years. Vegas might really, really screw the rules up, because the goalposts have been moved in their favor so ridiculously and cartoonishly. Like, they might be a contender in a few years. No, I can't imagine.
But you need that. You need that if you're the NHL. You want that.
It makes Seattle want to get a team more.
Absolutely. It makes people want to pay that fee.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
But, you already get to take a player from every team. You get to build a cap team from scratch. You get to... no move clauses don't count for you. You get a lottery. What is it? Like a lottery protected pick or a guaranteed certain odds pick for the first 4 years of your existence. Like, if they suck in 5 years, George McPhee sucks as a GM.
Yeah.
Like every single thing is in their favor.
I think it's good though, because if you look at the ringer that they put several teams through in past expansions, there's a reason why the Atlanta Thrashers aren't around anymore.
They also made dumb moves.
They did make dumb moves, and they had great young players. I mean, they really, really did. But Nashville almost left. Columbus has never been great.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, right? I mean, one of the original-ish expansion teams. So I think that they actually are finally going, okay, well, what if we gave them more than a little bit of a chance to be good in their first year? And if the team is good, if they're okay, then that's great. I want Vegas, for the health of the league, to be contending within 3 or 4 years.
Totally. But if they make it super duper awesome for Vegas, I wonder if they change the rules and tone it down a little bit for Seattle.
Nope. Because if I'm the Seattle guy buying the team, I'm saying not a chance in hell. You gave it to Vegas, you have to give it to me, or you don't get my $500 million.
What about the other dudes in the league? What about like Calgary or Edmonton or Vancouver?
Fans love it. It's
Holy
great for
shit,
ratings.
You're going to put this monster in our division? What the hell? What the hell? I know. What the hell? What's the deal with Seattle? Damn, baby. I'm writing something. I think it might be up. It should be up by the time this show is up.
Okay.
I'm starting a new baby. Instead of trade trees, it's era adjusted. Era adjusted. So hockeyreference.com keeps era adjusted numbers for players. So basically goals are weighted differently. A goal in the 1980s meant less than a goal today because goals were less special. For example, in 1988 or something like that, teams on average scored and allowed 278 goals. Today, guess what that number is?
Well, didn't they score like 215?
Today, the average goals for and goals against is 227.
Wow. That's a big difference.
I think the number I wrote down, just in case I screwed those ones up, is teams on average score and allow. Not combined. Score and allow 51 less goals. So a goal today means more. A goal is still worth one goal, but goals are more special than they were in the 80s. So I've heard a lot of people recently talk about Sidney Crosby being among the all-time greats and comparing him to Mario Lemieux. The numbers suggest, yes, Sidney Crosby is one of the all-time greats. Comparing him to Mario Lemieux is another freaking story. What a goddamn force of nature monster Mario Lemieux was.
Well, we'll leave it at that.
We will leave it at that. What an unbelievable... He makes Sidney Crosby look like shit.
Are we doing the press conference today, or are we...
This has already been like a 2-hour show.
Oh, has it? Okay. Was Drew nice?
Drew Doughty was on an hour and a half ago.
I know. Was he nice?
Yeah, he was nice. We annoyed him with a couple questions. I wanted to ask him about the Norris thing, but randomly a hand goes
did you
up.
think you deserved the Norris?
Yeah, no, I was going to be like, so I called it your Revenant. I mean, I can say, I would have kicked that guy's ass. I'm that guy now.
Did you guys annoy Drew Doughty?
No, not at all. Steve's being dramatic.
Okay, well, I can't wait to hear it.
Also, I'm
we need to
really
wrap
hungry, and
up
there's
because
5 giant bags of chips in front of me.
There's no more space on my memory card.
Oh, okay.
'cause we've gone so
All right.
long.
Well, thank you for making time for me.
I was going to play you sex advice from Stephen A. Smith.
Oh!
Do you want to hear that?
Yes!
But we won't have video for it.
Who cares? Let's hear it. What do we
I was only going to do it if Adam came back for it.
Oh my god. Do we wait till the next episode?
Do you want to hear this? Or
No, people will find it if we
Yeah,
tease
okay,
it.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Yes video?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Stephen A. Smith was giving sex advice?
So this clip's from a year ago.
69 and things of that nature. Sorry. Nice.
He was Michael Baisden, some man, had Stephen A. Smith on his like local access show.
Some man.
So he gave sex advice. And the clip's from a year ago, but it's now kind of going viral on Twitter. Actually, it's from 2 years ago, 2015 October. Let's listen to sex advice from Stephen A. Smith.
All right.
Of course, the cheesy.
What
is this?
It's Mingle City.
Sex, and I want the ladies to hear this loud and clear. Sex is the most important thing in a relationship until it's good. Then it doesn't matter. Before you can establish that you have a vibrant, healthy, great sexual relationship with that man, it gets in the way of everything. When you have good sex, when a man is handling his business and doing what he's supposed to do, don't you notice that suddenly her tolerance level is just a little bit more? You know, the arguments, et cetera, et cetera. And it's the same thing, and it's the same thing for guys. I'm going to tell you a story real quickly because I want other guys to get an opportunity, especially this man right here. I want to hear what he had to say after hearing this girl earlier. But I'm just telling you, I had a girl, and I'm me personally. I'm a booty leg and hitman to the core. You don't have that. It's insulting that you've even approached me. Okay. I had a girlfriend that obviously was stacked, Kardashian, J-Lo, Beyonce type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And we were getting in.
I'm a booty, hip, and leg man. Booby people, you don't want a problem with me. Kevin Durant,
You're a booby man.
people, you
Kevin
don't want
Durant
a problem.
is a booby man. Do you think that's how Stephen A. Smith orders chicken? I am a wing thigh and like what?
If there are any breasts in my chicken, I will send it back.
Do you want yellow mustard or Dijon? I'm insulted you would even ask me that. Frenches all day. Kevin Durant, you do not want a problem with me, Dijon mustard.
Everything Stephen A. Smith talks to, it just becomes Kevin Durant.
Brings it back to Kevin. All right, shall we continue?
Yeah. Oh, please.
Sir, would you like milk or cream? Kevin Durant. Sir.
I want to hear what you have to say after hearing this girl earlier. But I'm just telling you. I had a girl, and I'm me personally. I'm a booty leg and hitman to the core. You don't have that. It's insulting that you've even approached me. Okay. I had a girlfriend that obviously was stacked, Kardashian, J-Lo, Beyonce type stack. You know what I'm saying?
Those are not the same.
And we were
people.
getting into an argument a few years ago, and she was living in Chicago, and it was Thanksgiving, and I was about to send her behind back. She ticked me off that much, but she had on a lingerie. And I was on the other side of the room. And then she got up and, she was getting on, talking, running her mouth and all this stuff. Then she turned and she walked away. Her body was in the bedroom, but the booty was sticking outside of it. Stay with me. When I saw that, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I walked up to her and I said, it's really not that important what we were arguing about. It's not that important, because I knew that by that night, because we were going to go out to the family and all that stuff, I knew by the end of that night, I wanted that. See, we were smart enough and wise enough. The difference between us and women is that she might have kept arguing until 10 o'clock that night. I knew that morning, all right, I got to work this out now and use all of these hours to my advantage if I want to get my hands on that tonight. That's the difference.
That was, wow.
He is a much older gentleman than I. That is horrible advice. That's really bad. What? Work on not getting in that argument in the first place, and then you'll have way more. Oh my God.
Here's what I would say. The first part I think he was right about, because the saying that sex is 90%.
Are we doing this now?
Sex is 10% of the relationship when it's good and 90% when it's bad, I think is true, because I've been in both, and I can tell you that sex when it's bad is 90% of the relationship.
Adam and I's relationship was rough
until we figured it out.
Until we
figured it out. The answer is yes.
Some of that good sex.
That's right. Because Steve's booty was sticking out of the bedroom while he was in it.
First of all, that's
and I was like, I need to get my hands on that.
It's so preposterous.
It's blasphemous.
Crab Rangoon, things of that nature.
He is such a cartoon, man.
It's unbelievable.
I hope one day that our fax goes through and we finally get to talk to Stephen A. Smith. I really want to talk to him. I would love.
Faxes are incredible, because 1 minute the fax is in this room and then the next is in that room, just like the booty. Oh my God!
I would like to talk to him. Like, I want to ask Stephen A. Smith about
what's the matter with him.
Do you eat with a knife and fork? What are your thoughts on Harry Potter and the conclusion? Did you watch Lost? Like, what? Tell me about. Talk about anything.
The
with Stephen A. Smith
is the height of human achievement.
He would have hot takes on life, and I think he should do a YouTube series called Hot Takes on Life with Stephen A. Smith, where it's just 30-second clips where he just puts them out every day. He's got a thought. It's something ridiculous. He's talking about a mic stand. He's talking about insulation in his house. Whatever it is. Hot takes with Stephen A. Smith. I would, or he wouldn't want to call it hot takes, but
Stephen A. Smith, is it acceptable for an adult man to put ketchup on his hot dog? To me, that's preposterous. You hit a certain age, you're able to vote, you're able to serve your country, you get a couple years older, you can have some alcohol, but once you hit that age, when you can serve your country, you cannot be immature and have ketchup on your hot dog. It's un-American and it's wrong. You don't want that ketchup with me, Kevin Durant.
You don't want to eat ketchup with me.
You don't want to eat ketchup with me. You're a grown man.
Anyways.
You have ketchup on your hot dog before you get drafted, but once you do, it's down to business.
You made as much sense as he did at the end of that that clip.
I know.
Again, after that first part, I'm like, okay, you lost me, man. I didn't even know.
I can't believe I lost
Wow, I
you.
can't believe you found that.
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter. It's amazing.
Wow. All right. Well, that's it for the
wrap
show,
up.
I guess. Wrapping it up. Love you guys. Thanks so much for listening. I'm glad that I showed up today.
Yes.
I feel like I made a valuable contribution to the show.
No, we got to Stephen A. Smith, so it was worth
I want
it.
to see my reaction when you walked in. I was genuinely surprised. That's funny. I didn't know you were coming on at all.
We could have just ended it there.
Bye!
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.